What if I told you? Jesus didn't call God Father as a symbol or a poetic gesture. He used that word because he had discovered something beyond religion, something about the very structure of existence itself, something that dissolves fear, ends spiritual striving, and reveals why you were never separate from God in the first place. This is not theory, this is revelation. And once you truly understand it, your relationship with life, with prayer, and with God will never be the same again. Jesus didn't speak to a distant deity in the sky. He spoke from divine awareness, the consciousness of union. When he said Father, he was describing the invisible source from which all life springs, not a being above, but being itself. Most people pray as orphans, crying out to a faraway God, pleading, hoping, fearing silence. But Jesus never begged. He recognized. He spoke as one who knew where life truly begins. To him, Father meant source, substance, and origin. Just as a father gives his essence to a child, God gives his own being to every soul. You are not a creature trying to reach your Creator. You are the Creator expressing as creation, divine life moving through human form. Joel Goldsmith once said, "The secret is not to get God to act, but to realize God is already acting as you." That's the essence of mystical Christianity. The word Father wasn't about hierarchy. It was about identity. Jesus wasn't declaring superiority. He was revealing universality. When he said, "I and the Father are one," he wasn't making an exclusive claim. He was unveiling the hidden truth of every human being. That you and the Source are not two. You are one life, one consciousness, one infinite being expressing itself in countless forms. Think of it this way. A wave never has to become the ocean. It already is the ocean, simply expressing itself as a wave for a moment in time. You don't need to reach God. You are God's own life appearing in this form, for this season, in this sacred now. When you live from that understanding, prayer changes. You stop asking as a beggar and start remembering as an heir. You stop pleading for miracles and start recognizing the divine intelligence that has always been your nature. This realization was the heartbeat of Jesus' entire message, and later, the foundation of Joel Goldsmith's life's work. He taught that every sense of lack, fear, or disease begins with one illusion, the belief in separation. Once that illusion dissolves, wholeness begins to reveal itself naturally. It's not magic, it's alignment, it's remembrance. Let's make this practical. When you pray from separation, your words sound like this: God, please help me, please heal me, please fix this. But when you pray from union, from Father consciousness, your prayer sounds more like this: Father, I thank you that you are already here. Your wisdom is expressing as my wisdom. Your life is living as my life. That shift in awareness changes everything. Because the moment you stop chasing God, you discover that He was never running away. He was the life breathing you all along. Here's a simple truth. You can't reach what you already are. You can only remember. When Jesus healed, He didn't call on God to descend. He simply recognized that wholeness is the nature of the Father. And where the Father is, healing must be. Not because of effort, but because of essence. When you truly grasp that, your spiritual life stops being a battle and becomes an unfolding, a story of awakening. There was a woman, let us call her Margaret, who spent 30 years praying for healing from a lifelong illness. Every morning she begged, fasted, and cried for relief. Nothing changed. Then one day, she came across Joel Goldsmith's teaching about the Father relationship. At first, she resisted. "If God is already within me, why do I still suffer?" she asked. But slowly, she began to practice differently. Each morning, instead of begging for healing, she sat in silence and whispered, "Father, you are my life. You are my being. I live and move in you." For weeks, nothing happened, until one morning, something shifted. Not in her body, but in her awareness. She felt a presence, not above her, not around her, but as her. That day, her healing began, quietly, naturally, from the inside out. It wasn't instant, it wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Over months, her pain faded, not because she forced God to act, but because she stopped believing she was separate. That's how transformation happens. It starts with consciousness. The outer world follows the inner awareness. The father relationship is not a theology. It's a living truth. The source doesn't live outside you. It is you. That's why Jesus said, "Your Father knows what you need before you ask." When you truly know that, you stop trying to get blessings and start realizing you are the place through which blessings flow. You stop praying for supply and start recognizing that divine supply is your nature. You stop asking for peace and start resting in the peace that was never gone. This is not arrogance. This is remembrance. Here's what Joel called the practice of the presence. Every morning before you check your phone, before you enter the noise of the world, sit for 10 or 15 minutes and remember, God is not somewhere else. God is my life now. Don't ask for anything. Don't try to visualize. Just acknowledge. When thoughts of fear arise, don't resist them. Just return gently to truth. My Father is here. Divine intelligence is operating now. I rest in that. This is not meditation in the Eastern sense. It is recognition. You are not trying to connect with God. You are remembering you were never disconnected. Do this every day for 30 days. You are training awareness, not earning miracles. Another practice Goldsmith taught was releasing the burden. Whenever you feel overwhelmed or anxious, pause. Take a slow, conscious breath. Then silently say, "My Father is present here. Divine intelligence is handling this now." Don't try to control outcomes. Let go of human will. This is not passive surrender. This is active trust. The moment you do this, your nervous system quiets, your intuition opens, and the flow of divine wisdom begins to move through you. It's the end of orphan consciousness, the belief that you have to fix life alone. See others as the same life. When you look at others, even those who frustrate or hurt you, try to see the Father expressing as them. This doesn't mean you condone wrong behavior. It means you recognize the divine substance that lives beneath every form. When you practice this, relationships transform. Enemies dissolve into teachers. Conflicts lose their sting. Because you realize the same life that breathes you, breathes them. Living from the invisible. Goldsmith's third key practice was living from the invisible. He taught, everything visible is effect. The invisible Father is cause. When you look at your finances, don't react to numbers. Recognize that the true source of supply is invisible. When you look at your body, don't identify with pain or appearance. Acknowledge that divine life is the reality beneath the form. You are not denying appearances. You are seeing through them. As you live this way, your outer world begins to mirror your inner clarity, not because you manipulated reality, but because you aligned with it. You will face challenges. The first is doubt. Your old conditioning will whisper, "This can't be true. I feel too human, too flawed." That's okay. Doubt is not failure. It's just the echo of old belief fading away. When doubt comes, don't fight it. Just return to recognition. Whether I feel it or not, the Father is my life right now. Truth doesn't depend on your mood. It depends on reality, and reality never changes. The second challenge is when life seems to contradict your faith. When bills pile up, the diagnosis arrives, the door closes. That's the moment when your practice has power. Joel said, "Stand firm in recognition, not because you see results, but because you know the truth." Recognition doesn't force circumstances to obey you. It aligns you with the source that transcends circumstance. The third challenge, your mind will say, "This is too simple." You'll think, "Surely I need action, plans, strategies." But consciousness is the ultimate cause. Once the inner changes, the outer must follow. just not always in the way your human logic predicts. A doctor once asked Joel, "How can awareness heal disease?" He replied, "Because disease is the shadow of forgetfulness. Healing is the remembrance of wholeness." That's the power of Father consciousness. In creative work, when you know the source is your mind, creativity flows effortlessly. Artists, writers, and thinkers who practice this stop forcing ideas. They allow them. They don't create. They cooperate with divine inspiration. As one painter put it, when I stopped trying to paint something great and started letting God paint through me, beauty appeared by itself. That is what living from the Father means. Letting infinite intelligence express through your gifts without fear or ego. In relationships, true healing happens when you see divine love as the essence of both yourself and the other. Not two competing egos, but one love expressing in two forms. When that awareness enters, tension dissolves. You no longer fix people. You recognize the perfection already present beneath the surface. That recognition heals more than words ever could. In purpose and career, when you know God as Father, ambition transforms into guidance. You no longer chase success. You let divine purpose unfold naturally through you. Instead of asking, "What should I do?" you begin to ask, "What wants to express through me?" And life begins to open in ways you could never have planned. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "The Father within me doeth the works." As this awareness deepens, something extraordinary happens. You realize you were never really on a spiritual journey. You were never separate, never lost, never trying to return home. You were home all along, dreaming you were far away. The awakening isn't about reaching God. It's about waking up from the illusion that you ever left. When this recognition dawns, joy arises naturally. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you finally see perfection was always present. You discover peace that doesn't depend on circumstance, confidence that isn't arrogance, compassion that doesn't require effort. You stop asking life for meaning because you become the meaning. You stop searching for light because you realize you are the light expressing. And then prayer becomes gratitude, living becomes meditation, breathing becomes communion. You start to see God everywhere, in the ordinary, in the broken, in the breath itself. That's when you understand why Jesus called God Father. Not to separate God from humanity, but to remind humanity of its divinity. So take a moment now, close your eyes, whisper quietly, "Father, you are my life now." Not as a prayer for something to happen, but as a remembrance of what already is. Practice this daily. Let it change how you see, how you speak, how you breathe. And soon you won't be seeking God anymore. You'll be living God, because you are not a child searching for a father. You are the Father expressing as the child. You are divine life, temporarily walking the earth as human. If this realization touched your heart, understanding expanded through these Joel Goldsmith secrets like this video, subscribe for more transformative teachings, and comment, "I am transformed," to affirm your awakening. If this message awakened something deep within you, consider giving a super thanks to support more teachings like this. Your light helps this wisdom reach the world. Because when you truly understand what Jesus meant by Father, you stop searching for heaven and start living from it.